when we're throwing, guys, we want to make sure that when I go in the center line, it's always going off of his right hand, okay? So when you're throwing shots, you want to make sure when you're throwing, you're a little off the center line, and off the center line when you're throwing things, okay? So going back and forth, we're just going to go off the left side, we're going to break off the left side. There's a lot of setups you can do off of that, okay, guys? So when we're throwing, you have to think of yourself when you're competing, when you're self-defense or whatever, that it's always going to be my turn, my turn, my turn, and then when they think it's their turn, it's
my turn.
yeah, fair enough. Right? So going across, what we're going to do is we're going to go here, we're just going to jab up, boom, on the switch kick. The switch kick, make sure a lot of times what happens is people go back here, and then they fire, okay? Which I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm off the center line all the time. So we're going to go 1-2, or you can set up off the ground, kick to the ground, boom, and in position. When you're throwing though, I want to make sure that I'm to the outside of the body. You guys look right here, my kick, if I throw my kick, my foot's here, straight across, you guys can see, it's only going to land, my power ends here. If I go to the outside of the body, it's going to end to the outside of his body. So go up and through that, whatever I'm hitting, okay guys? So going across, here, boom, switching over, fire, back out. Now if you notice, if you kick, my body's straight down. In my range, okay? Same concept. There's a lot of setups off the left side, so I like to use a lot of it, okay? Going across, you do 1-2, set up your shot, set up a couple of times, you can even go here, fire, push on your skateboard just a little bit, here, to the outside, okay? So I go up and through, okay? Again, you notice after I do my shot, I'm back out. I don't want to get hit by something. If I sit here and kick across this way, I get hit by something. Okay? So again, same thing. When I throw my shots too, a lot of times what happens is guys will go across here and they'll throw the kick this way. And so if you go to the inside of the leg and get used to that, a lot of times what I'm going to do is off of this, I'm going to let the stink come off of it. You'll hit something, okay? So if you let fire off of here, it's the reason why when I throw, my hands are going to go up in his face a little bit. I'm going to touch my shin across, and I'm going to go up top, okay? So again, here, fire, boom, back in position, okay? That's one way of using it, so you can see the other side up, the other angle. Back in position, okay? Now, what we're going to do off of this one, people don't get kicked on his backside leg a lot, especially when I go to the gym to spar, we're going to be competing. What I have to do is take his weight distribution. The traditional Muay Thai stance is, it's going to be an 80-20. You're going to see this, but it's because they're blocking and they're firing immediately. Throws a kick across here, and I block, and I'm going to try to fire across. Now, because we're in the States, a lot of people use hands, so we use the weight distribution is usually going to be a 50-50 for the most part. It's what I like to do. And sit down into my legs so that I can lift up and use my hands a little bit more, okay? So going across when you're throwing this, a lot of times what I'll do with this backside leg, I'm going to have to extend my leg a little bit. Usually what I tell guys is, it's not a problem until it's a problem. So I might kick this leg on the backside, he's going to shake his head no. I'm going to kick it again, he's going to shake his head no. I'm going to keep kicking that leg until he stops shaking his head no, because then with the problem, then it becomes a problem, okay guys? So going across, I went here, switching, boom. I've also switched again, inside. I've also went to the outside of his leg, boom, okay? If you notice, I'm going off the center line, here. So when he throws, okay guys? So that's your format of kind of throwing a switch, okay? Not going, keep that water coming, crap. So he's going to 1-2 hook, can jump to the outside. I'm going to show you how to fix it. I'm going to squat with him. He's already hit me with this once, so I created some memory across. He goes over here. Okay? Now watch my legs one more time. That's the point. Everyone's looking at the top of him. Watch my leg. Okay? Again. I want to make sure when I'm throwing these shots that I'm catching angles on it. Okay, guys? So when I'm throwing and I'm stepping backwards on something, I want to step to the outside of his body. I'm loading something. Okay? I don't really teach guys to throw switch or switch stance stuff, but as you get higher level, they can switch. But the problem is guys, I have a lot of new guys that come in or a wrestler. They're like, oh, I'm a switch fighter. No, homie, you didn't switch nothing. They're like, you're not good at anything. Okay, let's be good at one thing. and then go back to that, okay? So I don't, the problem is a lot of times when I have guys that switch softball with me, whenever I switch, then I just start hammering him immediately. Because the theory of it is he's hit a bag like that, he might have hit some Tide pads like that, but he's never been hit hard like that, okay? Me and Mark fought in Oklahoma. It was one of my last semi-pro fights. I ran. There's a couple of different things going on. A little bit of this, okay? So as he's throwing the cross, I got to pull myself off the center line. I got to create movement and power at the same time and keep myself in a safe position, okay? Now, there's other things he can do to be able to hit those shots, but as he throws a jab, jab in, I know he's coming in, and usually behind that one, he's usually going to be a 2, okay? So ideally, he should have his hands up like he does. So now always the thing, okay? I'll tell you guys, there's plenty of times I fought in California, and one of the guys was like, oh, he did a switch kick, he did a... Nobody did. Yeah, because it was a potential step back off like a defensive offensive move. Okay, as he goes across. Now, if I step straight backwards, center line with his fist, and I'm not creating power. My power is here right now, okay? I have 2 laser beams. Well, if you can end up that power range right here, if I'm like this, where's my power range right now?
On the outside.
The outside. He's right in front of me. I'm not going to create that power, okay? So, if you throw this leg straight backwards, which I like to do if I'm throwing a switch kick and I want back out, I'll go straight backwards for it, okay? Just cut the timing out just a little bit. If I'm going here and I'm setting something up, you'll see me float just a little bit. Now, when I say float, it's not a crazy float where it's like, it's not that. You're using a counterbalance. I'm using this leg, I'm swing back, okay? Same concept as when you're throwing across, when you're hooking, it powers to backwards. Boom. Oh, you see here. There's a couple of different things right there. Finish up to get his hands up, hands goes out. I also slap him back into that. So what I want to do is make his weight distribution go from here all the way back to that leg so he can't lift it up. It also goes when he's going the opposite side here. When I'm doing the pin drum out here, you can also do it another way, working with the shot, and he's been lifting his leg up. So say he goes 1, 2, hook, and I boost and he lifts up his leg and block. And this way to get him down is throwing 1, 2. I'm gonna, instead of hitting the hook, I'm gonna push his weight distribution down. Now he's lined up with my right hand again. And then he's getting another angle. Doing 1, 2, hook first. Boom. Now he's starting to walk now. Boom. Okay. Now I'm gonna come over. Pushing him back off with that leg. Now he's lined up again with my right hand. And again, power side is there. He wants to go up and through the person, correct? So we go across, when he switches, boom. Now he's falling into my power side. Alright guys, bring him. No more talking. Outside the ring all the time. As a coach, father, I set goals for myself, and for the next 6 months, I'm not going to have a leg, okay? And I've already told a lot of my fighters, like, if you want to come in, you want to fight, you guys can hear me, right? Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I told a lot of my fighters, okay, that if you're going to be fighting in the next 6 months, there's not a lot I can do for you, okay? One of my buddies, JR, just had surgery. It's really amped me up because he was up in the ring for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, going right?
Right.
I know it's good, but I'm really, I've had this leg, and some people are like, oh, you shouldn't be showing about your ACL and this, that. Just to let you know what's going on, I did have in 2016, we're going to talk about investing in ourselves. If any of you guys need to leave or anything, you're more than welcome to. We'll tell a life story about kind of how I started, and kind of go from there, and investing in yourself as an actual fighter, a person, and kind of moving forward. I'm going to try not to cry a little bit today, but I'm really talking about my things. So, a little bit about myself. starting in Muay Thai. I just drink it all this more. Okay, so probably a lot better. That's someone else. Yeah.
It's her other one. Comedy. Sharon's a comedian now?
Maybe my water girl. Alright guys, so starting doing Muay Thai. My parents were missionaries growing up. Okay, I was homeschooled. Between 1 to about 3, I grew up in Thailand, Malaysia, and Burma. Okay, which is a lot of that like Thai culture, like the fighting style. Okay, it really doesn't have much to do with like, me actually fighting. I'm sure my dad watched stuff like that. I'm sure my mom watched stuff like that. Stepping back a little bit, my dad. Has anyone ever watched a movie called Big Fish?
Yeah.
Okay, it's really about the. If you ever come talk to me, you're like, have you seen it? No, I don't watch movies at all. I don't watch anything at all. Okay, I really don't even watch fighting to tell you the truth. I'm just always tinkering with something. Okay, I'll break that down too. And literally think of myself as like a shark. If I stop moving, I'm just gonna die. Okay, and that's when we're gonna get into like a little bit like depression and stuff like that because me not being able to train and do stuff. I already know like this. Okay. So going and doing martial arts was a group super poor. My dad was an entrepreneur. I never wanted, if you asked me 3 years ago if I'd open a gym, I would have told you no. Okay?
I would have told you yes.
Yes. And I'm going to get into this dude right here too, for the same too, okay? My dad was, my last name's Italian, right? My dad was in a counterfeit when he was younger. And when I say I brought about the Big Fish, was my dad told stories about like this, that, whatever. He was very much into like drugs and like all kinds of different stuff. It was very much into like counterfeit and stuff like that. But it's one thing for someone to tell you stories and for you to be like, is it real or not? Okay. For some of you guys, my house is a revolving door. You can literally come to my house and there's literally 3 to 4 guys at my house or girls all day long, 24/7. Okay. My life was like that growing up. My parents were really trying to put it into people. My dad was at a rock bottom and restarted. He actually got sentenced to life in prison for counterfeit. He got caught when he was like super young. Got caught for counterfeit and was actually locked up for pretty much life. Okay. After he was caught and was trialed and set for life, I think it was it Reagan? Who was it? What's that? Reagan. Reagan actually pardoned him, so he actually got out. Okay. My mom has like this one. My mom actually has like pictures of him shaking hands with him and stuff like that. Some people don't really know about all those parts, but that's why I'm gonna break it down. It all comes together all the way to this day, for the most part. Okay. My dad got pardoned out. When he went, some of you guys know of like Lego Church. I'm not going to get into that, okay, up, downs, or whatever's of that, okay. Pastor Joel Osteen, his dad was Pastor John Osteen, okay. He actually put a lot into my family growing up, which, like I said, I'm not going to get into like religion. I'm not going to get too much into stuff like that. If you want to ask me questions of things that I've been through and what I believe in afterwards, you're more than welcome to do that. We're going to cover some things today too. And I might say some stuff that's going to irritate you, might piss you off a little bit, but I'm not really here to like, I'm telling you what my life's been through, and you take that and you make it your own too, okay guys? There's no reason for me to sit there and discuss for you guys, and you figure things out when I've already done a lot of this. You can take what I've done and pick the books up and go with it, okay? My dad, John Osteen actually took him in pretty much. He went to Bible college. That's where he met my mom. He basically he played opposite, okay? Had his life pretty much thrown away. Went to Bible college, became a pastor. Went overseas and started being a missionary. Okay, whenever he became a missionary, my first life between 1 and 3 was overseas. Which put the Thai culture into my life. Okay, when I was growing up, my dad always spoke to us in Thai all the time. We really we ate curry. My dad worked sarongs all the time. It just was part of the culture that we lived for a very long time. My dad always wanted to go back out to the field, which caused me to be homeschooled. And being homeschooled, you got to be kind of careful about being homeschooled too, because my dad was an entrepreneur, and we had to really I kind of suffered by it, okay? And that's the reason why I was really scared to be able to do this on full time, was because I was scared to be an entrepreneur. My entire life, I've been an entrepreneur, but I've worked full time because I grew up with a lot of things. I grew up with insurance. I didn't grow up with, for having the power off a couple days in a row, that was normal for me, okay? And some of you guys might be going through that, so I'm trying to speak to you right now. Some of you guys may not know what that's like, but for me to have the power off for a couple days, that's fine. Eat beans and rice, throwing ketchup and all kinds of other things on to make it taste different, was part of life for me, okay? So, as I came up in that, my dad, like I said, was an entrepreneur, but I wouldn't see him from morning till 10 o'clock at night. He was trying to go do this, try to do that, and it kind of gets into the depression side a little bit of things. I always wonder, my dad worked super hard trying to cash in. You know, I worked 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden, that whatever deal happened, it just fell through. And I would see my dad laying on the couch for like pretty much a couple of days, just. And so I would ask myself, because when I was my daughter's age, I'd be like, hey, what's going on with him? And then he'd snap back up, hit the ground running again, okay? That was my whole life watching my dad do that, okay? I suffered about that, and as I got older, I told myself I would never put my family through that, ever, okay? I never was offered a long stick. What I mean by that is, you have a short stick and a long stick. Some people, I'm trying to give my kids the long stick, but at the same time, the short sticks are who made me who I am today, okay? I don't have much of an education. I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying I had to work harder for what I wanted, okay? I started working full time when my first job ever was when I was 13. I worked, I ride the bus down to the rodeo and I worked there. And then as I grew up, I was working full time at 16 on up through, okay? I never was able to, I never thought of myself as being able to work, and I didn't have an option but to do hard labor. In the sort of road construction, work for a railroad company, or railroad, not as like actual railroad, but like services and stuff. So I got into that, making crap for money, $2 an hour, freaking out on my own when I was by 17. So this is where it gets a little interesting. My dad was, he told us stories about this, that, traveling, being a missionary, and being in those areas. And one day I was at work. I worked for a rail company for a long time, 7 days a week. Some days I worked. There was one time I worked 80 hours in one week. Okay, some of you guys might be working like that, and you're grinding. Okay, there's a fine line between grinding, working hard, and setting goals for yourself to be able to make yourself to another place. For me, whenever I was working, eventually rain, shine, I'm freaking soaking wet, working in rails, and just got sick of it, like straight sick of it. I wound up landing a job that was like $1 or something less. It was closer to where I was. I wasn't in the rain. I was in a warehouse, but I wasn't in the rain, so I wound up taking a job. I worked there for about 2 years, I think it was, about 19 years old. My dad later on started getting into, he started getting into currency exchange. Okay, so I don't know exactly. I never asked my dad questions. Okay, my dad he was a good dad, but he was also like an Italian guy, so pretty strict. A little bit of backstory on my family. There was my family came from Sicily. They were my grandfather. He was a bricklayer and a boxer. Okay, so if you can put that together, coming from over there to the States, he's just a hard grinder. Okay, whenever Facebook started, I'm throwing my age up here. Whenever we go to when Facebook started, I started getting messages from people in New York, and they were like, "Man, I never met a Mongolian that wasn't related to me. If you meet a Mongolian ever, you're 100% related to me." What happened was they messaged me and they were like, "Hey, where's I've never met a Mongolian related to me, so how do I know? Like, how's the name here?" And we're out there. Here, well, there was 18 girls and 1 boy that came over from Sicily. Okay. Apparently, there was no way of like tracking stuff. The boy, which was my grandfather, left. They thought he died. That was my grandfather. Came to Texas. Okay. He came to Texas. Became a boxer and a bricklayer. Did really well for himself as far as being that. He had some property out in Conroe. He had property over here. He built his home. He was very old school, freaking Italian guy. Okay. So he comes over. He does all that stuff. Whenever, as far as culture wise. And then whenever my dad started getting into that, whenever he was getting into the at the end of when I started working there, I started getting a phone call. I got a phone call from we had caller IDs at work, and I was like, "Good afternoon, still, this is Sam speaking." Okay. But I had to always use a bigger voice because I was like, "Yes, ma'am," all the time. Like, "Good afternoon, still, this is Sam speaking." But I looked at the call ID and it said Secret Service on it, and I was like, "Good afternoon, still, this is Sam speaking. Yeah, this is Agent so-and-so, can I speak to Sam Mongonia?" I was like, "This is him." He's like, "Your dad is deceased. I need you to come home." And I was like, "What?" So I hung up the phone, great. And then it called right back, and he was like, "This is Agent so-and-so. I'm not going to tell you again. Your dad was deceased. Either A, you come home to 8911 or we're going to pick you up at 69 Scott Hugo Drive." The one thing people don't realize too is you take every dark place, and if you take a lighter and you light it, it's going to shine light on that situation. No matter how dark it is, you're never going to see far, but you can see what's in front of you. Okay? She's okay. She's with the spotlight. She's fine. Real quick. So, found out that my dad passed away. I called mom immediately. Well, I hung up the phone. I looked over my boss. Obviously, I just head to toe. Some of you guys may have lost family members. Some of you may not. Okay? It's 19 years old. Lost my dad. My dad was an entrepreneur the day he died. It was in a currency exchange. When I got there to the house, I'm almost frantic, right? I showed up. We had 3 white minivans in my driveway that were blacked out. She's flinched. There was you know, spotlight. When I walked up there was an agent found me, comes up, he said, "Hey, can't come inside. We're checking the place forever." So, okay, and he's like, "You're gonna have to sit, basically detained for the most part." So I went over there. He comes out, and this is when I talked about the big fish story earlier. Was my dad always told these stories, and there was plenty of times, and just right now, it's like I'm looking back at the things that were imprinted on me that I never thought were. Most of my guys are staying at my house all the time. They have places to live. They just stay at my house because it's a comfortable zone for them. They might be going through something. They just need someone to just stay there for them. That's it. Okay. And so whenever that happened, he sat down with me and he gets a big folder and he was like, sat down in front of me, and all those. If you ever watch the movie Big Fish, it's where a guy tells a story over and over and over about different this, that, whatever, and no one really believes him. And then whenever he dies, all those characters in the movie come to life. They start coming to life. So they had a folder. It was a super old folder. I have no clue how they keep track of things like that. But it was a folder. My dad was like, "Hey, you know your dad was involved in counterfeit?" And I was like, "I did actually." And he was like, "I'm only gonna ask you this once. Would you have anything to do with that?" And I was like, "No." Well, my dad, so I was like, "Okay," and he was like, "I'm gonna ask you again, do you have anything to do with that?" I said, "No." He said, "Okay." That was it. And then he comes back to me later, and he's like, "All right, so your dad was involved in some counterfeit, again. My dad was with my mom for longer than she was without him. So she was 19 when she got married. They were 20 years together. She didn't know anything different. She was with my dad. Whenever he passed away, my dad never left my mom, ever. He was always with her. So this is where the part is, if you guys can put the two together, and I'm still to this day putting things together. And recently I was riding with one of my guys and started putting things together. I was like, "Oh crap," like putting things together, okay? My dad passed away. This comes back to the point of if you want to smoke, you want to do certain things, you want to drink, that's you, okay? My personal opinion, I have an addictive personality. Whenever I'm fighting, some of you guys know, my drugs are pretty much cars. Okay, I like old school stuff. I like mess with that stuff. You can ask my wife. Whenever I have fights now, I do not allow myself to buy a part for a vehicle. If I buy a part, I cannot put it on my car because I will literally lose sleep. My wife, how many times you found me 4 o'clock in the morning under my truck with a welder? Yep. So I am very much here at all times. So if I'm going for something, whether it's in and outside the ring, I'm going for it. Okay? When we fight, if you're gonna fight Muay Thai professionally, don't do it for the money. If you do it for the money, you're gonna lose. You do it for the heart for it. Okay? Most of my fights, I'm probably one of the higher paid Muay Thai fighters, definitely in Texas, but probably in the state. Okay? And I still don't make crap. I also too invest in myself, and we'll get back into that in a second. If any of you guys have to leave, you're more than welcome to. I hope you guys can stay. Hopefully this speaks to you guys. Going back to the agent. He told me, hey, your dad passed away. Well, when he passed away, he went to someone's house, which is not a normal thing for me, okay? For my dad to be chilling at someone's house and going to sleep. He went to sleep on someone's house, and he died. Okay? My dad was pretty broke up, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty broke up too. But he got into some painkillers, whether he OD'd, and this is the reason why. A couple of years ago, I was fighting like a lot, and I freaking went through a bottle of like 1,000 freaking Advils, and I realized at that point I was like, I gotta stop. And freaking, I'm looking for a little fix because my body's hurting all the time. Okay, so I try to read those small things and learn from them. Whenever my dad OD'd, I didn't find out that he OD'd until probably about a year later. My mom finally told me that he OD'd. And what he probably did was he was overseas and may have got some painkillers that were not regulated or something, took them, and it wound up being too much for him, took them out. Okay, that's the one point possibly. Okay, now looking back on it now and looking back at the situations as the years went, I feel like it could lean towards somewhere else a little bit. Okay, found out my mom originally told me that he had hardened arteries, and that's the reason he passed away. My dad was 55 years old. That was actually my very first tattoo. It's 55 in Hebrew on my arm. Okay, kind of find out it's not really 55 in Hebrew. Found it out there. Went to Israel. Yeah, that's cool. But my dad OD'd, and that's the reason why I don't do drugs, whether it's doing something small. I try to watch myself as much as possible since I have a really hard time sleeping. I have a hard time shutting my brain down, so it's really easy to start getting into things to like make yourself go to sleep. Okay, I'm 36 years old. I try to make sure that I don't really do anything that can really harm myself. But I realize I know what doors and gateways to open up. Okay, I realize I literally have never drank in my entire life except for literally I was in like an $80,000 wedding like a couple weeks ago, and a buddy of mine had like some super expensive Jack. There was a bunch of guys, and at this point, I went my entire life without drinking because I know what my mindset is. If I start getting into drinking, this won't be here. I promise. Okay. So instead of me allowing myself to get to that place, I'm gonna cut it off, and I'm not gonna allow myself to be there. If that makes sense. So recently, I took a drink, and I literally just hit my lips, and then that's it. I'll never drink again. The only reason why I did that was because my buddy spent like all this money, and really, to be honest, I was really proud about not drinking, and I'm still proud about not making decisions like that. But whenever I took that sip, I was a little bit for myself to be like, I'm not gonna just me not drinking I can take a sip of something in front of me and then be perfectly fine with it. Am I gonna drink again? No. I like the factor that I don't drink. You look at me, and I'm covered in tattoos. You put me in a circle of stuff. Me and Baba, he's straight edge. You put us in a circle of things, and everyone's like, oh, those dudes are out seriously. Or they're into bad things, and we're about as chill as it comes. Okay? But we're into this. Okay? Like I said, my dad passed away. The next day, these big Italian guys called me and my mom up. They're like, hey, meet us at Red Lobster. Okay? Meet us at Red Lobster. Like, hey, your dad passed away. We're sorry. He passed away at their house. Found that out right then and there. I don't know these guys. I've never met them. They're my dad's business partners. So I tell myself, I'm like, okay. He's like, we're family. If you need anything, we're here for you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I just lost my dad the day before. And some random person comes and tell you that they're family? No. Okay? I pretty much blew up at him, and I'm not, stepping back a little bit, so some of you guys, I'm pretty sure the only person that's probably ever seen me lose my complete cool is probably my wife. And I've known her for a long time, and she's probably only seen me like lose my lid twice. I have a crazy anger issue. Okay? I don't let that out because I know how my grandfather was to my dad, and my dad was sometimes towards me. He really tried to control it. Me, my dad, and my brother, we built our home, and I watched my dad throw a table one time through the wall, and I thought to myself, hey, we just built this. Why are you tearing it up? So I went through something, and I don't want my kids to go through that, if that makes sense. A lot of people are like, why would I want my kids to go through this, and they understand. No, I'm gonna kill the what's it called generational curses. Starting with me. Getting back again, the guys came in and said, hey, we're your family, this and that. I didn't like blow up, but I was like, yeah, no, like I'm not gonna sit here and have. Now I'm trying to bury my dad basically. Remember I talked about all the guys being at my house and being there all the time. Sometimes I come home and my friends are just sitting there eating spaghetti, or my dad's cooking food for them, or curry or whatever. All of my friends growing up buried my dad. They basically all pitched in money, and my dad had insurance, didn't have anything saved, didn't have anything. All of my friends wound up getting my dad cremated, and got my dad cremated, and so that's the reason why I allow people in my house too at the same time. Not that they're gonna take care of me when I die, I'm just saying in general, okay, going back on that, we left, and that was it. So. Me, my dad, my mom, me, my dad, my brother, we built our house. Basically, my mom had never worked without my dad, so she had to go out to the work field. When you're 40-something years old, and you're trying to learn how to go to the work field, that's hard. And so I had to move back home to help my mom out. We got when I was 16 or 17. I moved back in when I was 19, even close to 20, to help support my mom. Moved back in, helping her out. My parents, she was really far behind bills. I didn't know that, and wound up losing the house. My mom got super depressed. She was always like a thicker girl, a lady, and she lost over 120 pounds. My mom is this tall, so she went down to she went down to about 70-something pounds. Got super sick. Had to take her to the hospital. Went to Ben Todd, trying to get her fixed. What happened was she got depressed because my dad wasn't there. She stopped eating and just cut out everything. So I still have a job, but I lost my dad. I lost everything we worked for. And my mom's sick. And that was it. We sent my mom to rehab. We took my mom to a rehab place out here, and this is that timber I was telling you about. I got to go see my mom, and I remember going in, and there was like a time when we could see each other, and a dude came in, and he started flipping out and acting crazy, and he flipped out and acted crazy, and they basically came in and tried to, they basically said we had to go. And so I actually pretty much flipped I haven't seen my mom in a couple of days. I don't know what's going on. I just could see my mom, and then I flip. This guy flips out, causing where I can't see my mom. I basically tried to flip out. They had to grab me, and I pretty much almost got in trouble because I was about to beat someone up because my life's here right now. I'm getting involved with the rehab organization. It was 12 months. I had my own. I was at the place, and I knew it was being foreclosed on. I took everything I had, and when you're at zero, the way's up. And a lot of people, we've been at all different levels of zero. Okay? This is probably one of the lowest points in my life, to be honest with you. I've been in a couple of them. Okay? Like I say, you can take a very dark place and come back up to it. I'm not saying this is for everyone, but basically what I did was I went and sold everything I had. And went overseas. Lived out of my backpack in a tent for an entire year. Worked at orphanages and churches, and do what I'm doing right now. Music while I was up there. Some of you guys know that. I played music my whole entire life. I led worship too there. And I worked with orphanages. Went through a deal called the World Race. You can look it up. You probably can see some blogs and stuff and my stuff. But it was called the World Race. I lived in my tent and my backpack literally for an entire year. My mom was going to be in rehab for a year. I dropped everything I had just because I was at zero, and I was like, I'm going to restart life. When I was overseas, I got to train, I got to have fun with it, rebuilding myself. Okay. Like I said, I was like ground zero, and I picked myself up from there. Okay. Went that entire year. Almost died a couple times from getting malaria. To this day, I still fight malaria. Whenever I get sick, it comes back up for some reason. No, not malaria. If you have it in your body, you start getting sick, it comes back out. So sometimes like weight cuts and stuff like that, you'll start snorting. I can smell it coming through my skin. You can tell my wife too. It'll be really sick. But I used to push myself really hard. So coming back, okay, about 2 years later, I come back, and I'm missing the timings here. I am missing the timing. I left, sorry, we'll step back a little bit. Before I left, it was probably about a year or so after my dad passed away, we were losing the house. I'm at the house, I go upstairs, and I'm sitting there, and those gentlemen that said they were my friends, they're probably looking for something. I never thought about that. My dad, all of my dad's passwords were always my birthday. Okay. So one day I was sitting there, and it's been a year later, so I had to step back a little bit. This was a year later. I look over, sitting on his couch, and I look over and see my dad's briefcase. And I was like, no reason, just picked it up, put it on my lap, put my birthday in, because I figured that's what it was. It was. Flipped it open. Looked at that closed. Went downstairs, like, bro, come outside. I was like, what? I was like, just come outside for a second. And he was like, open it up. All the prints for the counterfeit was in that suitcase. So 2 things are gonna happen. My dad OG'd on accidental, maybe. Maybe he put himself in a situation. What I think putting things together over the years was my dad went to meet up with him. He somehow maybe was trying to get that. Maybe they were trying to buy back the prints or something. Maybe they had the money. Okay, I personally don't know how someone dies in someone's house with counterfeit money, and the people that's in the house do not get involved or are in trouble. So I don't know why. So my dad maybe took a hit. Like I said, either killed himself, OD on accident, or got killed by the mafia. The reason I'm saying this is because the counterfeit money of the prints were at my house. So everyone was looking for those prints. I have no clue why the Secret Service did not grab a suitcase and pop it open, but they were there the entire time. Like I said, going back in time and thinking about it, I'm like, maybe they either said it there, I don't know. But I think what happened is they wanted it. They tried to buy it back from my dad or something. My dad basically said no, or maybe they brought the money and then they slipped him something, and then he died right then and there. I don't know. That's pretty much where I hit a really low. My parent, like I said, I went overseas and pretty much gave away everything. Came back. My mom was getting better, getting healthier. I was doing
wait. What did you do with the prints? Can I get some of those?
So I took the prints. That's a good question. I actually walked outside. I lived where we could have like burn piles. I literally just lit it up and burned up. To this day, my mom doesn't even know about that part. So the reason why I never told her about that is because she thinks of my dad is a certain way, and I don't want her to think otherwise. Okay. A lot of people told me I should write a book. I'll definitely have to have someone write it because y'all know my grammar sucks. Okay, that's not funny. But so that's the reason I started Muay Thai, because my dad passed away, to hang out with my brother. We were in that Thai culture. I started Crew Pongs, which was a gym that was here, which is kind of like the OG of like Muay Thai for Texas. Mark, probably you even trained at Crew Pongs. Every OG has trained at Crew Pongs at some point. Okay, guys. So whenever that kind of happened, started training, went overseas. When I was training, we can tell some stories about that too. But the training, I came back. I started doing Muay Thai right off the ground, started fighting again. I had one fight whenever I left. 2 fights whenever I left. First fight I ever had, I fought. I won. I went to the back, I threw it all over the place, I told myself I'd never do it again. That was 61 fights ago. Anything in life that is worth keeping, worth pushing for, is worth fighting for, if it makes sense. Anything that most of the time is generally handed to you, normally is not going to be worth it. Sometimes you have stuff handed to you. Now, stepping back, I worked full-time. Sometimes I have guys that come in that are pro fighters that are wanting to be fighters and they do BS jobs so they can train more. What happens is they do BS jobs and they put BS work in the training that they do, and they get in the ring and they do BS work. Okay? Now why I say that is because I worked a full-time job, okay, working in a shop, okay, sweating every day, okay, helped me in, I wanted to be a coach for 2 years of my training, so I was coach, a fighter, and working full-time. But I looked across people, I looked across that ring, I looked at him and I was like, I live life hard in and outside of this ring. I will beat you. I will not be outworked. Okay? And there was been times when I sit there and look at people and they sit there and talk about, or they're basically pro fighters are living in their parents' basement or something, or they're sponging off of a girl because they're going to be this big fighter one day. You know what I mean? Making all this money. A lot of times that's not the case. Okay? Yeah, boxing there's lots of money. MMA is a little bit more. There's not that much. But at the same time, if you're following your dreams and you want to go after something that you love, then work hard to do it. Okay? Nothing's ever handed to you. Like I said, if it's handed to you, it's probably not worth it. I work full time. I get up at 5 in the morning. My idea, my personal aspect of if you're trying to be a fighter is don't go work some part-time job that you're doing 1 to 3 or 1 to 7. That's main training times when you have a morning class and you have evening. For our gym, it's basically the cream of the crop is going to be evening. You're getting more bang for the buck, more time, okay? So I recommend, for my personal experience, I would get up at 4 in the morning, and that sounds horrible, right? I would go run, shower, get back to, and then go to work. And then I'd be off by 3 o'clock, and go do what I needed to do. And then later on, as that came in, I wound up having, obviously, kids. Now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, am I done now? No, okay. Here's the thing, you can be a dad, you can work full time, okay? Here's the deal though, right? If you want to be a dad and you want to compete, if you are a full-time worker and you want to compete, okay? It just means you have to work harder. That's it. Okay? A lot of people don't think about it that way, but I'm going to outwork you all day long. Okay? I've my life has been like this. Okay? Working in and outside of the ring, I work hard here and I work outside of the ring hard. Learning from the mistakes that my dad's made, anger issues, I know how to treat my kids. Seeing the decisions he made for being, we kind of went, I guess we're really poor and stuff. I worked a full-time job the entire time. Now, this gym, for some of you guys that don't know, this gym is literally fueled by depression. Complete opposite to what you guys think, right? I don't like to think of this gym as like considered to like a church or anything like that. It is definitely a lighthouse to a lot of people. The difference between some people offing themselves sometimes is literally people being in here. I know it sounds really crazy, but it is. I get phone calls and texts and stuff from all different types of people all the time. And I speak life into those guys because I know what it's like to be at the other end of that. Okay? Personally myself, coming back, I remember watching my dad working, and remember how he said, lay on the couch for 2-3 days, just out there. As I got older, I didn't know what that was. As I got older, I found that it was more like a depression. For myself, I'd work really hard, I'd be grinding, working really hard, and then I would run into this, fall into super deep depression. I'm lucky that my wife is pretty sane, or she just doesn't show that she's crazy. I don't know, she's crazy, but I am mentally like not stable at all. Some of you guys will get like random text me, hey man, hope you have a good day, or hey, I've been seeing improvement in you. It's because I pretty much never got that. But I want you guys to know that like you live for a purpose. You create the world when you wake up in the morning. You create the world that you want to live in. Okay? And I'm getting into some topics as far as depression-wise. I would get up in the morning and I just want to live. I didn't want to go to work. So basically, I learned how to cope with that. And when I say cope with that, I know what my weaknesses are, and I'm going to adjust to that. Okay? Well, some people are. I personally. It's a chemical imbalance, but at the same time, whether you believe in a God or something, we all have a purpose. when you were born, there's something struck in your heart that you were looking for something. Okay? You're looking for something to gain, something to empower, something. Okay? Now, that being said, there's different people who go different ways in that. Okay? For myself, I would put away and I decide to be me. Does that make sense? Now, as a father, I do look from a different angle, and you might get upset with me saying this. Okay? I found reasons for myself as a young man without kids and stuff. When I worked hard, people ask me, "Why do you train so hard? Why do you do this so hard?" Because when I'm training hard and I'm running and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, I'm not thinking about the stuff that's in my life. I'm just training. So that's the reason why I train so hard for so long. And like I always say to myself, it's like a shark. When I stop training, that's when I'm going to die, which isn't the case. Okay. My wife got COVID. I was working full time. I was actually, before we opened the gym, I was this close to quitting Muay Thai and working full time. Like just quitting Muay Thai. My daughter actually moved to Tomball, which I was driving. That's why I say I literally would go get my daughter every other day. Okay, I go and pick her up, and then I go to the gym. Sit down. I would go pick her up, then I go to the gym. I would spend 3 hours in driving. When I was training downtown, I would literally go drive to Cypress, pick up my daughter. I'd go to Mark's and Katie, and I would train with him, and then I would go drop her off in Cypress, and then I would go back home. On top of working, on top of training. And how many times, Mark, did I come in here and dead and still push?
I still kill.
See? So, going there, my wife got really sick with COVID, obviously, when that was all coming over. I couldn't, my daughter couldn't come over, life stopped. And what I said before about my life stopped for a little bit, and my head started messing with me again. So, I literally hated the job I worked at, and I was there for 15 years. Was I able to I was in oil and gas. And yeah, when you're like, oil and gas, we made some money. No, I was a grunt my entire career. I worked in hydraulics, worked in steel toes and a freaking jumpsuit my entire career. Helped running the shop towards the later part of my career. Got super depressed whenever my wife got sick. I didn't have COVID, but I had to be 15 days and I couldn't go to work. So I turned 15 days, I take a test, when I went to go back to work, took the test, said I had COVID. So I'm 30 days out of working, and I can't do anything. I can't go to the gym and train. I can't, and so it put me in another low place in life again. Okay. Now, right now we moved out to Springs to be closer to my daughter. Okay. Whenever I moved out here, sorry, my daughter's sitting. So whenever I moved out here, I thought that I literally was like, okay, I'm done training, I'm done fighting. I gotta make this complete travel back and forth. So now I moved out here, and I didn't know anyone out here really. To say truth, my wife was originally from the Spring, but I didn't know anyone out here. So I'm working full time. I said maybe I should just give it up. Like I'm older now, kind of achieved a lot. Just give it up. Super depressed. I put all my eggs in one basket and can't do anything with it. Called Mark, and he's like, "Hey bro, come over." I was like, "Bro, I suppose I have COVID now." He's like, "Bro, we all have COVID." I was like, so Mark told me to, I went over there and Mark said, "Hey bro, people like you." He's like, "I'm a good coach." I said, "Yep." He's like, "You're a good coach. The difference between you is you're not an a-hole." And I was like, "It's true." He's like, "For whatever reason, people are drawn to you." And so he was like, "Use that." He's like, "I guarantee you can feed your family." And we started talking, and he set that seed in my head. And I'm like, all right, I'm depressed, and I'm not doing something, then I need to fix that. I gotta wake up in the morning and decide to be that person. So I woke up in the morning, I started talking to him, I shot him this, I didn't even know where to start with having a logo. I sent him this little BS thing. He's like, yeah, it's cute. I was like, what? It's crap. I'm like, what? I'm digging this. He's like, no, it's crap. I was like, well, all right. A couple hours later, or maybe the next day, I don't remember. He sends me a logo, and I was like, change the colors of this. And then he sends it to me, and I step back and I look at it, and I started.